Hello and welcome. In this video, we will explore some interesting insights from 2024 CSEE examination data provided by Nectar. This part is our mini project for the Big Data Technologies course at the Eastern Africa Statistical Training Center. In this mini project, we are going to wrangle with data so that we can count the number of schools which were registered for the CSEE 2024 examination. We will also travel to Dar es Salaam to see how many private receiving centers were registered from that region. We will also be interested to know which region had the highest number of students who sat for the CSEE 2024 examination. And again, the top 5 regions by proportion of Division 1 performance, as well as top 10 regions which are with the poorest performance. So let's get started. I will import the request to handle HTTP requests and Beautiful for parsing HTML and web scraping, and pandas will help in data manipulations and analysis. This is the URL for the Nectar CSEE 2024 results main page, as you can see in this right side here. So let's send a request to the website to fetch the contents of the page. We will use the response is equal to request.get URL and use Beautiful to turn a web page into something that Python can read. So let's find all elements with an A elements href with the href attribute in the web page. As you can see here, we are going to fetch or to display these elements, A element with the href. So to do that, okay. So if you come to the web page of the Nectar results of CSEE 2024 and tries to open some private receiving centers and school centers, you will discover the following things. The first one is that, for example, if you open this Tanzania, you can discover that we are having tables of results, but not the tables for a region, examination center region, and a summary of students who sat for the exam and so on. But this is different in the school centers. As you can see, in a school center, for example, like Tanzania, for example, Tanzania, here we are having more than 2-3 tables. We are having a table for examination center region here, down here. But in private receiving centers, all web pages have done some exploration, some header, to see if I can find the web page with tables for this region. But in web pages for private receiving center, they don't have. So I'm going to show you how I can solve this problem by using the corresponding or the matching school centers whose location is the same, the actual location for the private sitting centers and the school centers are on the same region. So we use the index of the school centers in place of the in place of this private visiting center, so as we can fetch the region, and then we will update later on. But the next thing is that there are some schools, some private visiting centers which does not have a corresponding school centers. For example, Loreza. This is a simple example. Loreza let's find it. Loreza see, Loreza Center. This is a private visiting center. This is a private visiting center which does not have a corresponding or a matching school centers. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to fetch regions of these private unmatched private school centers, unmatched private centers, and I'm going to use a manual search because they are 110, and I'm going to show how I found that they are 110 unmatched private centers. So let's go. So the goal is to separate the private and school centers, and then match centers where the region registration number share the same last 4 digits, as you can see here, and also perform a left image so that all school centers are retained in the final output, because the school center do have tables in their web page for region. That's why we retain them, and we know that the private centers are not more than school centers, so they are fewer than, as you can see here, we having none value, which means that there are some schools which don't have a private visiting centers. So we make sure that all school centers are in the table, left image is yes, and then we show the corresponding private center if available for each school, as you can see here. So for knowledge, the school centers, the school exam centers start with S. For example, here S011 Azania, and the private centers start with P, as you can see in the web page, their web page. So matching is done based on the last 4 digits of their registration number, which often indicate they are linked. They are linked school and its private wing. So let's get started to create this a data frame consisting of the private centers and school centers. So let's get started. So separate the private and school centers. So the private centers, an empty list to store private exam centers, and same to school centers. We store school exam centers in the second list, schools called the empty list called school centers. So we will look through each link in links. For each link in links, as you remember the links in links, then you clean a white space from the text. So this one. So we want to fetch this text, the text with the name and also with the index or the registration number. So to do that, you have to make sure that we can see here they are they are three words, but you can find some other links with more than 2 words or less, or yes, more than 2 words. So we need to make sure that if the text does not contain both registration number and name, we skip it. How? We use this formula. So if the length of the text after removing the white space, if we split the text, then we get the number less than 2, then we are sure that this is not the link for fetching a school name or a private center with and corresponding corresponding registration number. So if we find that the length is less than 2, it means that the text does not contain, or it's not the text to fetch a registration number and school or private center name. So we continue. That means we skip this. This will help us to skip the text that does have or does not contain both registration number and name. So after that, let's fetch the registration number and convert it to uppercase. Also extract the center name. It's everything after the registration number, as you can see here. For example, here is Emabag Center, Igumbilo, and so on. Let's check if the registration number starts with P. That means it's a private center. So if that, we create. So if you find it's P, then it starts with P, then add this private center to the list of private centers, and also add it as a column like private center registration number, private center name, and the last 4 digits. Extract the last 4 digits from the registration number. So also the last 4 digits used to match this with the school centers in the next as I will show you. So do the same to the school centers, which starts with S, and we use the elif in order to check if the condition. We save the registration number, we save the name of the school center is school center name, we save the last 4 digits, which we use in matching with private centers. So let's convert these private centers, this data, convert the list to data frames for easier manipulation, and we will call them private centers data frames and school centers data frames. If we run this, we see an error. So the error says name, so we have forgotten this way right here. Yes, so we have started to see a certain preview of what you have to create. So this is for private sitting centers. So you can also preview for the school centers to see. Let's try to see for school centers. Yes, so we want to merge this data frame by considering the following rules. So we want to merge the school and the private centers using a left join, and I said the reason is that we want to maintain or retain the school centers because they are very many. They are very many than private centers. So we want to use the left join so that we can retain the school centers and have the matching private centers as well as unmatched private centers. So we have the new data frame called all exam centers. and after merging the school centers together with private centers on the last 4 digits and on the left join. So after that we can clean up and drop the last 4 digits, but also we can maintain it for the future use in matching. So let's try to display the results of all exam centers DF to see if we can get the values. Oh, there is an error. This error is found by using a lowercase of c. Let's try again. You see, so we have achieved our data frame with the private containing the school, the school and the matched private centers and unmatched private centers from this table, and you can also count the school centers. The school centers are 5,574 school centers. And next, you can simply run this. There is an let's try. Yes, the private centers are 962. You can also try to see for school centers. If you run this, we also DF. We also have this is for private again. I want for school. For school, yes, these are 5,574. So we have matched them, and now we are going to do the next step for the process of wrangling with that. Now let's try to enter into each web page of each school and fetch the region and also the number of students who sat for the exams and also the total division ones. So how to do that? Let's first create a list like this containing the last part of the base URL. We know each school its registration index number plus .htm. If you add it right here at the end, for example s.0101.htm, this will help you to go into the web page of the Azania center. This is the link for the Azania. So each school has this party. That's why we call it the base URL. This is the part that each school has, plus the index number or the registration number plus .htm. So we are going to create a list of this thing that we will be looping. We will loop through each of it and fetch regions, number of division ones together with the number of students who start for the exams. So what we need here is to make this list so that we will loop through each value and fetch those data into the web pages. So the next step after knowing the base URL that each school link does have, then we have to create that list. So to create this list, we first do this. So let's start with school and create an empty list called school centers file name. So this list will store the generated file name for each school, and then loop for each through each school registration number in the data frame like this. School registration number, and entering into the school center registration number, let's take the first 5 characters of the registration number, and then append the .htm, so that we can have a complete URL for the Beautiful to fetch the content. So after that, add the file name to the list, and then print that file center. Yes, we have succeeded, created this one. So if we have to, we can see the school name file. So we have succeeded to have this file name, so we loop through each of the elements in this list and enter into their web pages to fetch our desired things or data, like regency number of students start the exams, and also as well as the division 1s, the count of division 1s. So you can improve to see if they are still 505, still 5,574. Let's try. Yes, they are still valid. It has successfully created our desired school centers file name. So we want in this school centers df so we want to add some rows. Here we want to add rows with region. We want to take these school centers and enter into the web pages and fetch the data for region, student start, and total division 1. So we want to move from this web page, this data frame, and update it into having this data, which we have all school centers result. So let's go. We have our base URL, and then create a list, school list to hold the final result. We call school data because we are doing only school centers. So we loop through each school registration number. So let's try first 10, because we want to test if our code is working. So the first 10 schools. So if we iterate, then let it find the school registration number from the school center registration number and the school center name, and store them into school registration number and school name after entering into that row. After that, let it extract the first characters lowercase and add it .html. So that let it create a file URL, a full URL, so that we will be looping through each element in the school center's file name and fetch their registration number and the school name. Then fetch and pass the page through this code. So it's time to extract the region, and let's try to do here some things. Okay, if you come to Azania, for example, let's try to see Azania, the two Azania, yes, Azania center right down here. Yes, this is Azania, and we want to fetch the region. So you can discover that the region for Azania is found in a certain table. Let's use Control F, region, there is a table for region right here. Yes, this one. I think this is the 5th table by exploration. I have found this is the 5th table, and the region is found in the table data number 1, and this is the 5th table. So the code to achieve this one from the 5th table is this one. The code to fetch that. So here you will fetch the region through this code, and then after fetching the region, let's come and count the student who sat for the exams. I've tried to use the sat number, but I've found some problems, but this works. You come to this division 1 here column, which is found in the study table, because we're having the first table, the second table. This is the third table. If you come to this third table in this division, you can easily count those students which don't have ABS, absentee status. For example, here we are having this student. This is absentee, so he or she did not sat for the exam. Oh, this is a male, so he did not sat for the exam. So, and the only those who sat have a score of division here, whether 1, 2, 3 or 4. So we count all rows in this column whose value is not equal to ABS. So we will get the number of students who sat, but there is a table which shows the number of students who sat for the exam. But I've tried this. I think I've chosen this to be my method of counting the number of students who sat for the exam. So let's write this code to fetch the results. So to achieve that, you have to use this code. So this is the code that you will fetch. It goes to the second table and find all table rows, and also skip the header. It will skip the header, which is div, and start counting from this one division 1, division 4, and counting all the number downward. That's why there is a for loop here for each value in it takes 1 for each row in rows, and if it finds all and table data 3, and then it strip, that means it removes the spaces before and after, and also changes it up if it is only not the ABS, in order to get the student who sat for the exam. So we can also count we could also count the division 1 through the same division column, and we are using the same table data 3 and the for loop to count each division 1. So here the data should be equal to I, capital I, which means division 1. So it will count all. Then let's append the results. Let's append the results by using this method, and then change the dictionary into a data frame, and then trying to print that data frame. As you can see here, we are fetching over only 10 as you can see here, 10 schools. So it is fetching. It can take some seconds, because it's a very few few schools. Yes, already it has already fetched. Yes, so we have fetched the 10 schools. We have fetched the count, the count of students who sat for exam, their regions, the respective regions, and also we have fetched the total division ones of respective school. So after that, because it has worked, let's try to see, for example, for Azania, if this code is valid. So if this is valid, it means when we come to the web page of Azania, then we have to get these students who sat as 325 right here, and the region should be Dar es Salaam, and also the total division 1 should be 139. So come and to count here, as you can see, you can see in the web page for Azania we are having 139 division 1s, and it has counted right here. Also, this the student who sat, you can also try to add here manually, but there is a table. There is a table specific for that. Let's come here. 324. No, this student who have passed, who sat. There is a table down here. This one in the examination center division performance, there is a column that's showing the student who sat for the exam at 325 students. So our code is valid. We can now loop through 5,574 schools throughout our country, Tanzania, to see if we to see the region, the students who sat for the exam, the total division ones for each school, as follows. Now let me change the content here, the number of schools, and allow it to run, and it will take some time. I think it is going to take half an hour, but we will be doing another thing while it is running. We will be doing another another coding to fetch for private while it is still running. So let's try to run it and wait it while doing another extraction of data or data wrangling. So I run it, alt enter. So we waited for it. I think 30 minutes will be taken right here, because 5,574 schools are very many. So while it is fetching, let's go to another section where I'm going to show you the next section. So after that, we want to find those unmatched private centers, those private centers with no matching school centers. We want to know how many are they and which are they, so that we can find a way to search for their regions, even if it is a manual search, or if there are very many, then we can skip them. But in this project here, I'm going to use a manual search and for these schools, because there are very few. 110 schools private centers which are unmatched. They don't have a matching school center. I've done a manual search for the regions, so in order that the last solutions will reflect the reality. So unmatched private centers are 110. Let me show how I have obtained these unmatched private centers, and as you can see them right here. So the first thing is that get the URL, get the set of the last 4 digits from the school centers, as you can see here. Then find the private centers whose last 4 digits is not in school last 4 set. These are unmatched private centers, and then display the results. As you can see here, we have already obtained the unmatched private center, and they are 110. So these are the unmatched private centers, no matching school centers. So I have done a manual search on the regions and found that the unmatched private centers DF with the 110 centers do have regions like this way by a manual search. So these are special, and you will be also entering into the website now, not to fetch the regions, because we have already found the regions, but only to fetch the number of students who sat for the exams together with the division 1s count, the count of division 1s. So we are having this unmatched we are having private centers of this kind, which we found there is a capital letter here. Still there is a problem. Yes, we are having these private centers which are okay. There is some problem. No, you remember that we found that there are 962 private centers. Now we need to remove private centers whose last 4 digits appears in the list of unmatched privates. So why we want to have a resulting data frame that will contain only matched private centers. So because we have 110 unmatched, if we remove them from this, we will remain with 852 matched private centers. So if we remove them, yes, we will remain with 852. Simply is like saying 8062 minus 1110. You remain with 62. This is 9. Sorry. You remain with 852 matched private centers. So this matched private center, it means that instead of doing a manual search for their regions, we will change the registration number, but instead of P we put S and enter into the school centers whose location is the same as their matching last 4 digits number, and fetch the region for school. It will be the region for the private centers, and we will have also saved much of time in getting the regions and other data which we can fetch from it. So let's go and try to fetch the regions for these matched privates by using the the linked or the corresponding school centers. Let's check our Wrangling Jupyter notebook, Jupyter lab, if it has worked. Still, as you can see, this is here. It is still active, running and fetching for our 5,574 school centers. Yes, let's go back to our coding. So what we are doing here is that we need to add some another private center registration number column, and that's a column like this one. This registration number will be called this way, private registration number by school. Why? It matches the last 4 digits of the registration, the school center, but we will use this. Why? Because we want to fetch the corresponding region for the private center based on its match the school center, because the school center has a region in the region table in their web page, but the private doesn't have. That's why I have added another column here that will help us to fetch through each school by using the corresponding this column. Now to add that column, you will have this column. This code will help us to get that column by just replacing S and P and get this one. Why? Because we are going to create a file name that we will look through as we did in the school centers last time. So this, as we did to school, so we use this private center name to column to loop through each, and as we did to school last time, we also need to do the same for this match the privates. So let's try to see. So this, we will loop through this match the private center by school name. So we want to enter into every item in this list and fetch. Let's see. You see, yes, and fetch the required region. So to fetch the region, we are going to do the same as we did on the school centers, as I've shown you. So to achieve that result, we will use this code. We will now enter into the private center region number instead of the match the private centers, but also we will create a map the registration number here. Why? Because here the code iterates over the private registration number, so the endpoint here will be the registration number of the school center. That's why I've called this the map the registration number, which means at the end I will change it into the real or the actual registration number of the matched private centers. So the file name, as I've shown you, would be used the same file name by school, not by not normal matched private center file name, but by school, because we use the index of the school to fetch the data of regions, but also yes, but of the data of regions only. So here we are doing region only, not about a division 1 and the students who sat. So if I run this code, I'm sure that it will search for the first 10 items in that list above, in this list above, but in reality we need to fetch through all 852 to see the results. So for this 10, it takes some time. Let me wait. Yes, already it takes it has already created our data frame right here. As you see, the regions have been fetched for each. Yes, there is a problem. Let me check the problem first. Let me try to fix the problem. I forgot something here. To wait for me to see if this code can work for us. This is the code that we are waiting for it. It has already run. Yes, there's still the same problem. All right. Okay, the problem here is data. Let's try data. It's got to empty list. Let's again try to fetch. We forgot data. Let's see. All right, it has fetched the correctly because we forgot to write data here, an empty list for data to store those values, those to store the three regions map, the private center and the region. So this is a trial for the first 10 matched private centers. We are having 152 matched private centers that we need to fetch to fetch the corresponding region by using the school centers. So now I'm going to allow it to run for the whole 852 matched private centers, and it will take some times because up to now the data for school center is still running. Oh, the data for school center has fetched, but has fetched with error. So we check this error. What is the problem with it is a connection error. It's a connection error. It's timeout error. It's connection error. Max retry error. Yes. So let's try for this if it can run. Let's try for this if it can run for the whole 800. Script need df and try to run. Connection error. Let me check my data here if they are out. They have been finished. We hope these 800 are not too many for it to run, so we wait for it. One 0 2 0 2. The data is there, so the problem is let me initiate again whether the code are correct. So the issue is codes are correct. This is for the 500. I will split this data. I will check if I can split this data into small into portions, but let's focus with our few here to see if they will run. Alright, it has taken like 10 minutes to fetch through 52 web pages, and now we have a region for these schools. So let's try to also fetch for running for school centers, which is the most timing consuming because of the number of schools are very many. So while continuing to merge the unmatched and matched private to have a single school to have a single data frame, in order to fetch now the division 1s and the number of students who sat for the exams, let me allow the school center to keep on running, because it brought an error, I think, because I interfered it with the matched private center. Now let me try again whether it will now but it will take a lot of time. But while it is doing so, let me keep on merging the data frames for the matched and matched data frame. So if this is a matched data frame, then we have unmatched also. We have unmatched also. Let me try to see unmatched, the wrong data frame. So as you can see here, the unmatched private centers has four columns, and this one has 3 columns. Now we want to match them so that we can have a single data frame of private centers. So to do that we'll write this code, and you can match them and have a single data frame, as you can see. Let's first let's first rename, replace S with P, and also add a last column, so that we will merge with the unmatched ones. This matched is not in order. Now to make it in order, we do this. Yes, now we get the good ones, so we can match them now with unmatched. Now unmatched have the same rows as this. Now we can match them. So we can match them like this one in order to create a good private centers for all now. So to do that, you see, we are now having this way. This is just for the first 10 rows, but you can try to see those 962 now, like this one. Yes, so we are having a single data frame with region, private center name, and private center registration number. So we want to now find the student who sat for this exam, and also the respective division ones. So this is the last task in order to at the end manage the private and the school centers, but the school center is still learning to fetch the data from the web page, so I don't want to over traffic them. I want it to one after another, because last time I did it and it collapsed. So I will wait for school centers to fetch, and then I will fetch for these private centers, and then we will find the solution to our questions. So let's wait for the school centers to fetch the regions, the student who sat, and as well as the divisions 1. Yes, it has fetched. It has used the 2 hours to fetch this one. Students who sat for the exams, total divisions 1s and the regions. So let me save this data frame into SSV in order to avoid rerunning and wasting time. Yes, okay, because I want to use this data frame into another cell, this cell, because I run it in a different cell. I also let me save it so that I can use it in this cell without rerunning, because in this cell we are sure with private centers, which are 962. So we will merge, or we combine them vertically with the school centers so that we can perform our questions. So let me try to access that data frame that I saved. So as we did it to school, let's create also a file that will help us to loop through each school and fetch our desired data. This will be our private centers file name that will help us to look through each value here. Okay, let's enter into the web pages for these private centers and fetch the students who sat, and also fetch the division 1's count. So to do that, you'd use this code to make sure that you fetch all data. You iterate, but we are going to iterate over, let's try these 10 rows first, and then we run it throughout. Try this 10, let's try this 10, and you will run through every data. Try to fetch the 10 schools first to see. Yes, is this real? This is very real. Since Tanzania, Dar es Salaam, if you go to the website, you will find that the student who for exams are 47, and the division 1s, no division 1s. So let's fetch throughout the whole list, or the whole data frame. So here it will take some minutes, I think 30 minutes to fetch. Yes, according to this, it will take 30 minutes, I think, to more than 30 minutes. So let me run and wait a little bit. Okay, it has taken 20 minutes instead of 30 minutes as I predicted. So we are having so this code produced our data frame of private centers results, and I see these people have scored division 0. No one has scored a division. But anyway, this is the reality of many private centers. But what I want now is to combine these two data frames vertically, the private center result DF and the school centers DF. So I'm also having a school centers DF, which is this is a school centers result DF, and I want to merge together with the private centers DF, and I think now they have the same column names. Let's try to see this through. Yes, they do have the same column names, so I can merge them vertically and then conclude my do the summary. So if I combine them vertically, I will have this all exam centers DF now for all. As you see, they are now 6,536 schools with respective registration number, name, region, students who sat for the exams, as well as the total division ones. So my next intention is now to do a summary for our target, for our problem, to solve our problems. So we were asked so the question was, how many schools were registered for the CSEE 2024 examination? So to count all schools, we start with AC, the ones which means schools. So if you do that, I've messed up the name of a data frame. See, we are having the registered schools of 5,574 schools which were registered. These were school centers. Also, how many private visiting centers were registered from Dar es Salaam? So here we are going to count all centers whose name contains Dar es Salaam. So if we do that, we will get that we are having 111 private visiting centers which reside in Dar es Salaam. So how many private visiting centers were registered from Dar es Salaam? 111. So from third question to the onwards, we need to have a difference data frame which we consider region, total number of division, total number of students who sat for the exams, and division 1 count. So to do that, we are having this one which will answer our question, and our code, as you can see, this will help us to achieve just a unique region and the corresponding sum of students, sum of divisions 1 and the division 1 proportion. So all of these are the regions in this Tanzania, as you can see. So what we should do is now start doing the third question, the first question, which says, so to get which region had the highest number of students who sat for the CSE 2024 examination, you can use this simple code here and fetch the results. As you can see, it is Dar es Salaam, and the highest number of students who sat for the CSE were 59,063. Yes, this way, this number right here. As you can see from this code, it has brought them very well. So question 4, it is about top 5 regions by proportion of division 1 performance. So if we can use the n largest, then this is, will be our solution for this one, for the top 5 performing regions by division 1 proportion. We have Kilimanjaro, Arusha, Pwani, Iringa, and Mbeya. And the last question is top 10 region with the poorest performance. So we use the n smallest contrary to the n largest. So this will help us to get the 10 regions with the poorest performance. As you can see, the 10 poor, we have Zanzibar, Kaskazini Unguja, Lindi, Katavi, and so on up to Ruvuma. So these are the regions with the poorest performance.